Hello and welcome. Today's day 6 and today we are going to talk about creation of perfect pantry. I've collected about 8 pointers how to create perfect pantry. Number 1. So yeah, let's get inspired, and inspired not just to save money but also for prompts to healthy cooking, because when you open perfectly organized pantry and you see all the ingredients for your favorite foods and delicious meals, you really want to do it. You inspired right away to cook. So cooking, saving money, and of course aesthetics. It's fabulous when your house is well organized, and not just on the surfaces but also within cupboards, closets, drawers. Everything is in its own place. And as an inspiration, I love this book which I'm showing you now for the ideas, for the schematic plans, how you can get things done. All right, number 2, you have to decide on physical location of your pantry. Surprisingly, I never thought of it myself. Something came to me intuitively, but not everything. I remember back in my childhood, we had teeny tiny small kitchen, but everything was mixed together. You would open cupboards and you would see cups and plates and pack of sugar and sometimes pack of flour, and everything was mishmashed. And I think where you have to start after you get inspired is to decide what area of your kitchen will be solely designated to pantry. And pantry is, unlike fridge, is for ingredients that are non-perishable, something that you keep for a very, very long time. So it has to be dark, usually preferably cool and dark place. For some lucky people that have country homes, they probably have walk-in closets that you walk in and you see rows of perfectly organized containers. Some people for example, in our subdivision, they have large kitchens, and the whole section that looks like a closet is dedicated for pantry, which is also very, very cool. But as you know, my kitchen is very small, and as much as I try to expand every single square inch of it, there's really no place for pantry. And I do have one cupboard, guilty as charged, but it's just convenient, that is dedicated to keeping pantry items. And those are coffee, granola, and nuts. I want them to be accessible, and I use them every day. So yes, I put them in a cupboard. But as you see in the cupboard, there is nothing else. So I got those wonderful IKEA jars, all same design, and this is where I keep it. But other than that, really, there is no freaking spot to have pantry. That's why what I decided is to designate a linen closet close to the kitchen. Here it is. And instead of keeping linens, I keep my pantry items here. I also saw older homes that didn't have designated pantry, but people just had big armoire type of furniture which was designated as pantry. I think this is really, really cool. Even though you may only have few cupboards in your kitchen, I would say just pick one that will be your pantry storage, and it's non-negotiable, because it's so much easier to think and cook knowing where your pantry items are. Okay, So armoire, linen closet, built-in, separate room, or just a separate cupboard. Number 3, just like with my fridge, I prefer to keep my pantry storage half empty or or 2/3 empty, depending on the season, depending if I get some good deals. But really, when you can see what you have is very discouraging. First of all, it's not efficient because you overspend money on food, because those perishable items still cost money. But the other thing, it's really discouraging when you open your pantry and I don't want to do anything, and you just close it and you don't want to look at it. And that's maybe even more important than money saving, that it's really the aesthetics of it is not there. When back in 2015 and again in 2016, I took a course about cooking, about healthy eating. It was held at Whole Foods here in Oakville, and a wonderful, wonderful lady, Rose Turcio, was our teacher and taught me everything I know today about healthy eating, taught me about cooking. I wouldn't say 100%, of course, I learned more over the years after the course, but she was this catalyst of my interest in the matter, and my turning point when I thought, oh, I can do it. Yeah, I always thought of myself as a corporate lady running from one Starbucks to another sushi place. But she really showed that it's not that difficult and doable. So one of her postulates was, get everything out of your pantry, just throw it out. So I came home and she was right. I had flour and sugar and flour and things that I couldn't even identify. I threw everything out. And if you can afford to do it, it's probably the best way. Just clear it up and start from scratch. But some people can't afford it. I totally get it. So maybe we have to do a bit more work. And once I did that, I never really wanted to have pantry 100% full. I wanted this breezy look of it, where you can move things and you know what you have. And you only shop for things you really need, and you never buy anything in excess, which means you save your money. Number 4, get those unified containers. As I mentioned in my fridge video, I like stackable, rectangular containers that are see-through. I think I made a lot of mistakes in the past by buying containers that were not see-through, that just were very pretty. And oftentimes they were cylinders shape, and some of them would say flour, sugar, biscuits, all those things that we shouldn't have in our diet. I mean, Stephen and I, maybe you can have anything you like, but those pretty containers usually don't cover 100% of situations. And you would have to alter them by sticking a label on top of that sugar or biscuits or flour. But then what's the point? Then it doesn't look good. Also, they're not see-through. Also, many of them are cylinder shape. And what I ended up having at some point, lots of different mismatched items that were not efficient, and they were just distracting. Maybe for home staging, having 3 containers like this would work, but for day-to-day living, I would strongly, strongly recommend, once and for all, invest $100 into Rubbermaid containers of different shapes, different sizes. They're mostly rectangular, but some of them are little, some of them are big, and have this unified look. It's aesthetics, and aesthetics inspires you, so you want to cook. It's easier to hold them and to maneuver in the kitchen, and that will save you money in the long run. I would say in the first week it will pay off because you will not be buying more than you need to. Now with those see-through containers, I don't see a point of writing what's inside because you see that it's barley, you see it's buckwheat, you see it's quinoa, you see whatever you have there. But what I like to do, and that would be my next point, number 5, I like to put labels. I got this on Amazon, wasn't super expensive, so I can generously use them anytime I see fit. I like putting the expiry date or the purchase date if I don't have expiry date. But take a minute when you open your pasta, when you open your rice, and you pour this into, or put it into a container. Just take a look at the expiry date. Get this and write expiry date so that you could see. And then that will trigger your consumption. Because if you see something is close to expiry date, maybe you want to cook something with it. And if you don't want to cook something with it, maybe you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. What I also like to do is within my pantry, I like to have theme corners. So that is my pantry. And what I mean by themed corners is this corner is all about desserts, coffee, tea, and things that relate to tea with dessert. This is my mulled wine and tea section, and sometimes I do mulled wine in this kettle, and because it's a kettle, it kind of makes sense to have all kind of teas there. Then I have my oriental shelf. This pickles shouldn't be there, but you know, nobody's perfect, but that's the idea. The oriental shelf is here with all the oils. Now I have my main shelf with things I use most of the time, and I have my pasta corner. So when my son wants to make pasta, he knows that he looks up here, and whatever pasta I have in those containers and whatever pasta sauce I have, it's all right here. And in the bottom I have miscellaneous items, usually for packaging, for picnics, some spice maker. And you see those pretty containers. I have to sell them on eBay, I think. They're wonderful, they're so gorgeous, but they're not practical because that's too small for a coffee, too small for my tea, and we don't use sugar. Okay, so those are the theme corners. Number 7 is this fabulous item I bought just 2 or 3 years ago that you hang on top of your door, and look what it does. It creates ample of storage space for all kind of contingencies. And the beautiful thing that you can adjust those shelves according to the height that you need. For example, here I don't need much of a height because it's storing those thin packages. But here I need height so that this tray that I use for presenting food outdoors, and it has this cover from the flies, kind of a bulky item, but it's stored here nicely tucked away, and I needed to adjust the height so that it can be stored just like that. Now, for many years I was discouraged to get this fabulous item because I thought it would require a lot of work to be installed and drilled. Guess what? Not a single nail goes into it. I think it deserves Nobel Prize because it took me literally 3 minutes to put it on. I don't know how I lived without it. Not only it is easy to install, but because of many shelves and many options, I can see what I have. And the last item I'd like to highlight is eat from your pantry. Just like with the fridge, designate those days, those weeks. We have 1 week every 3 months where we don't shop for the whole week. Whatever we have in the fridge and the pantry, we just eat off that. This way you kind of forced to be creative, you kind of forced to use what you have, and those notes on expiry date would really be helpful because you would see what expires sooner. Maybe if it's pasta or rice or chickpeas, maybe you should start thinking of some dishes that you could make using those items. And then there is nothing wrong if you just make chickpeas and use salt and pepper and maybe some oriental spices and eat this, and have this as a semi-fasting activity. Again, saving money and clearing up your pantry. It's unbelievable that when I think of it as a weight loss activity, sometimes I have this natural resistance. Am I depriving myself or what? But when I think about it, that it's a cleanup, that it's being efficient, that will help to get rid of things in my pantry and fridge, for some reason my brain is not resistant, and I actually am inspired to do those. So that's it. Those 8 strategies to create your perfect pantry. And thank you for staying with me. See you in my next video. Bye for now.